Hey everybody, Dr. Heldman here. How the heck are you doing? Welcome back to Tech Talk Education. I've been out of pocket a little while here. I was teaching a class for 2 weeks, and so I didn't have a lot of time to be able to get back to the videos. I'm back, and today what we want to talk about is a thing called open source intelligence. It's called OSINT, and there are some techniques that you can use to go out and gather intelligence about an organization that might have been archived a long time ago. This is a part of the THM enumeration and brute force attack class. And so let's get started. This is really interesting and a lot of fun. All right, so here I am in the enumeration and brute force room in THM. I hope that you've run out and you've bought an annual subscription to this thing. It's a very, very good way to learn hacking and enhance your skill set in all areas of cyber. One of the things about cybersecurity is it folds in all kinds of technologies. So it's not good enough to just be an expert in networking or programming or what have you. You have to plan on being relatively a subject matter expert in a lot of things, especially TCP/IP. You need to know about code. You need to know about how these protocols work and how we work with different operating systems, so it can get really large. But when you're getting ready to check out somebody, let's say that you're on a red team and you've been hired to do a pen testing engagement, and you want to check out somebody and get more information about them. How do you go about doing this? What do you start with? Well, the trick here is to gather what is called open source intelligence. It's called OSINT, and there are a variety of tools for that. Today we're going to talk about one specific tool in the enumeration and brute force room. There are others like Nmap and things like that. But this particular room is really cool. I'm going to scroll down here because it shows you what's happening. So they define a couple of things that you need to know about. First of all, it's called the Wayback Machine. It's been around a long, long time now. It's very cool. Somebody said, you know what, we want to just preserve all of the internet and keep track of the pages as they have evolved over time. And so that's what we have here. And here's the URL. It's https://archive.org/web. And let me just go ahead and right-click and open this link in a new tab so you can see what it looks like. This is called the Wayback Machine. And the concept is that they keep track of changes to web pages. They put them, I don't know where all this lives or how they store it or anything like that, but it's all kept there. And it is available for you so you can go back and see how a website has evolved over time. It's super funny when you go look at something like Amazon and how Amazon has evolved over time to the point where it is now a very sophisticated website. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Wayback Machine. Now, there's some stuff that's happening here that you should get in and play around with it because it's a lot of fun. But when you go in and you match something, for example, here they went in and they looked for tryhackme.com. Let's go look at that. So I'll look for tryhackme.com and hit enter. And what it does is it brings up a list of all of the edits that have been done on this website over the years, starting from 2018, December 2nd of 2018 when the site first went live, up to today. And they can show you different things that have happened. And then when you click over the bubbles here, it'll give you information like here is seven snapshots, this is 5 snapshots, this is 4 snapshots, so you can see what they're doing here. They're getting snapshots of what has taken place, meaning that somehow, and I don't know if it's crawled or how they go about doing this, I don't know anything about the back end of the Wayback Machine, but what it's doing is it's saying, okay, oops, there's been a change here, I'll grab this and take a snapshot of it and load it onto the Wayback Machine Internet Archive website. So that's what we're talking about. Now here's the cool thing about this. What we can do is we can install this thing on Kali Linux. And so if you're looking here, here's one of the commands, git clone https github.com And there's this guy called Tom Nom Nom, and he has this thing called Wayback URLs. Let's go look for that. So we'll go look for github.com. I misspelled it. github.com. And we are going to look for, what did they say? Tom Nom Nom Wayback URLs. So let's look for Wayback URLs. And GitHub's really cool. It's a Microsoft thing. Microsoft owns it. There's a bunch of these out here. They just clearly went to the very first one, which is fine. And so what happens here is you get into this Git site, and there's all this code that makes this happen. And you could download that code if you wanted, or if you wanted to just get it, you would just select this here, copy URL to clipboard, boom, like that. And it matches what's going on here, where they're saying we want to go ahead and get this thing here. So let's try this command. I'm going to switch now over to Kali Linux. And what I will do is I will copy this command. Now I already have my Kali running here. And there you can see that I've got it connected to my room. I don't really need it necessarily in this case. I'm going to Control C out of that and exit and clear. I was teaching a class in Linux. I was teaching a Linux Plus class, which was a lot of fun. I actually learned a lot about it. So let's go back and look at the command, because I've already forgotten the command. So the command is pretty easy. It's just git, G-I-T. It's not spelled G-E-T. It's git, like get this done. We're going to clone something. And where we're going to clone from, I'm going to just right click and paste that clipboard thing in here. We're telling it that we want it to get this git file. So we'll hit enter. And boom, it grabs it, resolves the deltas. Here we are. If I do an ls, I might see another folder sitting out there. Let's see if we've got one. Templates THM, there we go. Wayback URLs right there. So it created this folder. And if I change directories into Wayback URLs, and do an ls, it'll show what's in there. And you've got a README and some other stuff like that. You've got scripts and stuff like that. Okay, let's go back and take a look and see what else we need to do. Now we've already CD'd into the Wayback URLs folder. And now what they want us to do is they want us to do an install on Golang. Well, now what is Golang? Google invented a programming language that they call Go. It's quite popular in the Google universe. And they say this command is optional. I don't know if that means the TAC-Y is optional or not, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back to Kali and install Golang. So here we are. I'm in the Wayback URLs folder. I'm going to install the Go language. So I'm going to say sudo apt install, and I'm looking at my notes because it's spelled funny. Golang TAC-Go. I'm going to put a TAC-Y on there because what that does is that gives permission to this download to go ahead and just install it without prompting me, hey, you need a certain amount of disk space. And I'll type in my Kali password, and we're going, and there we go. So this might take a minute. I'll put you on hold until this is all done. Alright, once that's all done, what we have to do is we have to build this thing. So it's not enough to just download it. We have to build this app. This is a pretty common thing in Linux, where you download an application. Now I've got to build it. In some cases you might have to do what's called a make. So you do an install, a make, a build or make, whatever the order is, and then it's ready to go. Well, in this case we have to do go build. We have to build the Go language here, like that. We hit enter. This might take a minute, so I will put you on hold again. Okay, now what they wanted to do here, I'll show you where we're at inside this particular TryHackMe thing. Is we're right here. We're going to do this ls tac-lah. TAC-L means list, A means hidden files, and H means in human readable form. The sizes here is what they're talking about. Like this K here is in kilobytes. So let's go do that. We'll run back to Kali and we'll do ls tac-lah. Okay, I'm all back in Kali. I'll go ls tac-lah, and we'll get a feel for what's in there. And we got some stuff in there. We've got the Wayback URLs. Now you notice here that this thing is green. And what that's telling you is that it is executable. Also, if you look at the writes on this thing, this is perfect. This adds up to 7. You remember that I have a movie here where we're talking about the permissions, how you add up the permissions in octal in order to derive what's called the absolute permission. So in this case, you start with the X, that's worth 1 point, the W is worth 2, the R is worth 4. This thing adds up to 7. So this is the user. This is me, Callie. This middle one here is the group. So this is the Callie group. When you create a user in Linux, what happens is you're put into a group with your same user name. So now we have user Callie, group Callie. Now this is also 7, so we've got 7, 7. And then this last is called other or world. You'll hear both terms mentioned. And what that means is that I'm neither user Callie nor am I a member of the Callie group. Nevertheless, I can read and I can execute this file. So this thing has read and execute capabilities. This thing here, the group, and the user can also write to this file. So if we wanted to edit this script, we could edit it. And the entire writes for this are 7, 7, and then 4 plus 1 is 5. So 7, 7, 5 would be what we would say would be the absolute numeric permissions for this particular executable. And it's got to be noted as an X executable in order for us to run this. Well, that's pretty straightforward, but there's one other thing you have to know. I'm going to clear the screen and re-ls this thing. So ls tac LAH, boom. There's one thing you need to know about this particular executable here. If I am in the same folder or directory as the executable, which I am here, you can see that I'm in the Wayback URLs directory. I'm looking at the Wayback URLs executable. It's in green. To execute this thing, it either has to be in the path, which this is probably not in the path. In fact, I know it's not. Or what you do is you put a ./ in front of that. So what that does is it's alerting Linux, hey, you know what? The executable that I want is right here, right in this particular directory. And I'm going to execute Wayback URLs. And then I'm going to tell it what I want it to look for. So I'm going to look for tryhackme.com and hit enter. And it's going to go out to the archive.org site. It's going to find all of the entries that were created for tryhackme and then report them here on the surface. Now it's going to take a minute, so I'll put you on hold until it's done. Okay, the thing finished up, and you can see that I've got significant output from the Wayback URL. Now the way that I would do this is I would use the T command so that you could T this into a file that you could go back to and examine later, because scrolling up through here using your mouse is kind of painful and it's an awful lot of text. Let me show you how to use the T command to do this. Alright, so I'll clear the screen by just typing in clear. I'll hit my up arrow here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the pipe key. Now the pipe symbol is just above the enter key on your keyboard. So I'm going to pipe something in here like that. It's called pipe. Very common in Linux. This is what we would say would be a pipeline operator. It's not a redirection operator per se. It's a pipeline operator, and what it's designed to do is to execute a command in addition to whatever we're doing now. So what we're doing was we're saying Wayback URLs, that's an executable. Go out and show me all the listing of tryhackme.com, and now do something with it. And so in this case what we're going to do is T it into tryhackme.txt, for example. So what this will do is this will T something into a text file. Now T is a two-part command. So this is a really interesting command, one that's good for you to know about, because we're saying go get me all this, and it's okay to dump it out to the screen. I'm fine with that. Oh, but at the same time, I want you to pop it into this text file as well so you can go back for a later review. So I'll hit the enter key. This will take a minute, so I'm going to put you on hold. And we're done. And you can see the same output as you got before, But now what we have is, if I do an ls out here, I have tryhackme.txt, and I can edit that file. I can go in and look at it, examine it, search for things, that sort of thing. So that's why this is really, really useful. Like the T command is useful for something like this, because you can see all of the incredible output that they are keeping track of in just one site for one company. It's amazing. And I think the stat I read was like 816 billion pages that they're keeping track of now. All right, so I'm back in this enumeration and brute force room. I wanted to show you this real quickly. There's this topic called Google Dorks. And what a Google Dork is, it's a very specialized search query. You can go out and buy books on that specialize in Google searching, Google hacking, because you can use language inside Google that's been put into the database, into the system, to be able to help you get other stuff that's out. So I would recommend researching Google Dorks and getting affiliated with this. This is information that wasn't meant to be public. So this is definitely a part of OSINT. You're looking for things that you could use that are nice and juicy, information that you're looking for that might help you. Let's look at some examples. So they say to find administrative panels here, you would type in the site keyword. This is a keyword that Google knows about. Site : give it the site you're looking for. And then there's a special Google keyword called in URL. So what that means is, if you find this in the URL, when you're going to hit this URL, if you find the term admin, I want to know about it, because what it's doing is it's indicating that I've got an admin site and I can try hacking that password or whatever. In a lot of cases when you do that, you might find that admin, and just the password is very easy, like admin or admin password or admin the name of the product. And you can also go out and look up the user guides for this software and find out what the default logins are. So very, very often, I'm sad to say, people that install software like this don't bother to change the admin password. It's possible that you could get in there and really mess around with stuff. So this is an administrative panel. Site is the keyword, your URL, whatever you want to go to, and then you use this keyword in URL and a colon, and then you tell it what you want to look for. So that's a way to find an administrative panel. Now if you want to unearth log files with passwords, you use another keyword. This is a Google keyword. It's called file type. You put in a colon, and then you tell it what you want to look for. Well, I want to look for logs. And the logs that I want to look for contain this phrase here, this string password. Then you give it the site colon and the URL. So that's a different way of looking at these Google Dorks. What this is going to do is return to you, it's going to go out to the site, it's going to return to you any logs that it finds that contains the word password. And then you can also discover backup directories. This is huge because these things are hidden from view. When you're working normally of a day with a URL, you have no idea that that's happening. And so this is called in title, colon, and then you could say a string like index of backup, and then you would point it to the site as well. So that's another way to get at this information. So again, I recommend that you look for some sort of a manual, YouTube, study guide, online source, PDF. There's a million things that are out there that you can use to learn more about Google Dorks. So I just went out here and grabbed my Brave search engine and I looked for Google Dorks documentation. You see Google Dorks guide. And ironically enough, TryHackMe's competitor shows up. They have a manual here called Google Dorking, a guide for hackers and pen testers, which would be a good place for you to go. Station X has a thing called Google Dorks Cheat Sheet 2025. That's very cool. And then there are some YouTube videos. There's a lot of information about Google Dorking, but the point that they're trying to make with this particular thing here, this particular room and this section of the room, is you're working with OSINT. What you're trying to do is gather intelligence so that you can go about further investigation into this company to find out if you can get to open doors, or if you can find servers that are open, machines that are open. The idea behind recon, social recon like this, is that you want to get as much information as you can about the users that might be on the system, the IP addresses, the names of the systems, maybe the actual physical locations of these systems, and things like that. So you're trying to get as much information as you can. It's called reconnaissance. It's open recon in this case. You're not affecting anybody. You're not going to get arrested for this. This is just a way for you to gather more information about what these people are doing and what they're up to, because maybe you're on a pen test engagement and you're getting paid money to find out how unsecure or secure this particular organization is. That's the point with OSINT. You start somewhere, and there's a lot of approaches to OSINT, but this is one using the Wayback Machine. So I hope you had fun with that. You don't really have to do anything to get the complete here like that. You just click complete and it says whoop whoop, your answer is correct. And we will go on to task 7, the conclusion. And it talks about here effective enumeration. Proper enumeration is crucial for identifying potential vulnerabilities in web applications. Enumeration means that we're going to print out a listing of everything that's involved with this website. We want to get as much about the website as we can. Using the right tools and techniques can reveal valuable information that aids in planning further attacks. Brute force efficiency. Optimizing brute force attacks involves creating intelligent word lists, as we've seen before, managing attack parameters, and avoiding detection mechanisms like rate limiting and account lockout. Right on, because you're going to hit an intrusion detection device or an intrusion prevention device. They're going to see you running an mmap scan or like burp, and they're just going to lock it out. They might even call the cops if they feel that you're getting in too far. And then there's an ethical responsibility. We always conduct enumeration and brute force attacks with explicit permission from the system owner. Brute forcing is a bad thing. Brute forcing will get you in trouble with YouTube, for example. So if you put out a thing that said, hey, I just brute force name the site, that YouTube might take notice of that, or Facebook or LinkedIn might take notice of that and say, are you aware that you're out of your ethical realm here? That's not ethical for you to go in and brute force something like that. So please keep that under consideration. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. A lot of these black hats are out there brute forcing stuff, but it does mean that doesn't mean that it's necessarily ethical that you're doing that. So I would encourage you, what I'm trying to get you to do, I want you to learn how to hack as best as you possibly can. Why? Not so that you can go make $1 million by hacking into various grandma's bank accounts. I think that's really unethical and sinful and dirty and not right. However, stopping those guys is a really, really good thing to do. It will pay well, and the only trick is you have to know all of these technologies, and you've got to be very good with them. So that's the encouragement that I leave you with. I hope you enjoyed this movie. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please like it. Please subscribe. Tell your friends about it. I'm trying to grow the channel. And thank you for listening, and have a great day. I will talk to you in the next video.